And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're going to take a look at Spellcaster. This is a two-player game. Okay, well it says on here 2 to 4 players, but this is really a two-player game of spellcasting. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of games in spellcasting, from the very well-known Magic the Gathering there to many other ones. So what differentiates this one? Well, if this makes sense at all, this is a family-style spellcasting game, kind of, sort of. Anyhow, let's take a look at it. At the beginning of the game, each player gets 10 energy and 2 crystals. That changes with 3 to 4 players, but we'll just talk about it. A 2-player game. A 4-player game is basically just 2-on-2, and 3 players 2-on-1 with some rules that change things. But you're trying to get 15 of these sorcery sapphires. If you do that, you win the game. Or if you make the other person lose all their energy, you win the game. Or if someone needs to draw a card from the deck and they can't, then the game ends and whoever has more sapphires wins. Players are going to start with 3 cards, and on a player's turn, the first thing they do is they draw a card. They then have 2 actions that they can do. Drawing a card can be one of those 2 actions. Actually, you can do that twice if you want to. You can also play a card. When you play a card, you play it on the proper color. So you can see that green goes on this one, and if I was playing a red card, it would go on this one. You can activate a card that's in front of you. So this one, for example, lets me draw 3 cards, then discard 2. This lets me drain 1 energy from my opponent, or 4 energy from my opponent if I discard a red card. Now, my opponent can play cards on top of the same color. See, this one here says drain 2. He controls that color, not me. So at the beginning of my next turn, I can't do anything about it, and he could activate that card every turn, drain 2. Now, you can only activate cards once each turn, so I can't drain 2, then drain 2 again, unless I have something like this, which says use another card you control twice. So perhaps, I have this drain 4 if you give the rival 2 sapphires. So I have this card in front of me, so I use this card twice on my turn. And each of the different colors has a different thing. The blue cards often have to do with the sapphires. This one gives you 1 sapphire or 4 if you discard a blue card. Some cards have this symbol here at the bottom, this little red symbol here, and when this card is in front of you, that happens at the beginning of every turn. So every turn, I would choose one. Each mage gets 2 energy, 2 sapphires, or 2 cards. Or here, just gain an energy at the beginning of every turn. By the way, I shouldn't have had that red card there. It should be over here. And so the red cards are going to be cards that hurt your opponent, draining your opponent, doing things to your opponent. As I said, the blue ones are ones that get you sapphire, the yellow ones are the ones that get you energy, and the green ones do all sorts of weird things, like here, play a card from your hand, use it, then discard it, discard the 3 cards, gain an energy, and drain 1 energy for each. And that's how it works. So you're going to draw a card, take 2 actions, that goes to the other person. They draw a card, take 2 actions, and you keep going till somebody wins. That's the game. As you can see, the game is very simple. It goes back and forth. Now, I've played the different variations of it, and I have to say, not a big fan of the 4-player or 3-player. The 4-player, first of all, seems kind of boring. You wait in your turn, you're sharing the same cards, and it kind of feels like it was tacked on so they could say 2 to 4 players. And the 3-player, I don't know. 2-player works well, though. Now, it's very simple. You have to go into the game realizing that it's a very simple task. You're going to be playing these and manipulating them, and you have a few choices on your turn. Do you want to draw more cards? Activate the cards. So I put 2 cards out, hoping that next turn I can activate both those cards, but my opponent can cover them up. You look, there's 3 cards facing your opponent. You realize you better start covering those up. You're running out of cards. What do you do? So there's minor decisions, but most part it's a very light game. You think of something like, this is a game you would teach someone before Magic the Gathering. You could play this with mom or something, which kind of makes me wonder, why use this theme? All right, this game is a very simple, easy one that anybody could play, so why throw this kind of generic fantasy theme on again? Fantasy is kind of overdone in many times, and I want to see something different and unique with it. This could have been anything, any kind of theme. Like, it's basically a tug of war, essentially, as you're getting the blue stones and not trying to lose your energy. But that doesn't matter that much. I think it would reach a more target audience. I think a lot of people will walk by this and just say, I don't know about that. But it really is a light family game that works really well with two. Fast. The game box here says 20 to 30 minutes. That's very legit. You will find many games going 20, maybe once you know what you're doing, even as fast as 15, because you'll be able to play the cards down. This is a try before you buy for many people, but I think a lot of folks are going to like it. Look past the very generic fantasy theme. Look past the fact that it says 3 to 4 players. If you're looking for a light, fun 2-player game to play with somebody else, this is an excellent choice. Dice Tower Judgment, approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
There.